Hey there everyone, it's Ryan Liberty, and in this video I will be answering the question, what are cognitive distortions? Okay, so let's get to what cognitive distortions are. So this is a term that was invented by Beck in 1964. As always, I've done a little homework before I did this video, and you'll see me looking down here at some notes I have. But in 1964, Beck was looking at his patients that had depression, or what they called depression at the time. And he noticed that they have these patterns of thinking that they seem to be unable to shake. So he called just general patterns of thinking schemas, and he further defined these as our attitudes, our beliefs, and our assumptions that mold the way that we look at the world. So these, although he observed this in depression, and as you may know, one of the criteria of the depressive disorders are that the person feels like a low self-esteem about themselves, and they think like their situation is never ending, people maybe can't understand them. So that could be an example of a cognitive distortion, but it's not something that's limited to depression. It's something that we all can experience. So it could be you might find it in other disorders. You may find it in like a trauma and stressor related disorder, for example. But even when we all just undergo stress, we may result in using a cognitive distortion, because often there are automatic thoughts that we don't really realize that we just automatically go to these patterns of behavior. They're just kind of there, and under times of stress we grab them, we use them. So they are felt more intensely and deeply, but we may not realize that we're using them, and because of that, it may make it hard for us to break them. But I'll get to how we can break them after I get to what they actually are. So I'm going to quickly go over what cognitive distortions are, so you can get some examples of what I'm talking about here. So you've got things like all or nothing thinking, like seeing things in black and white. So this is good, this is bad, that kind of a thing. Then we have overgeneralization, so using words like always and never. They always get what they want. I never get what I want. This always happens to me. You never help me. Those kinds of things. Mental filtering would be things like picking and choosing what you pay attention to. So you may only see the negative qualities in an object of yours, for example, that maybe you bought because it had positive qualities, but you don't recognize those anymore. You choose to only see the negative qualities, and that doesn't necessarily mean that you're consciously choosing. It's just that that's the way your mind filters things. So that's another cognitive distortion. Another one related to that would be discounting the positive. So that could be something like you have positive qualities in yourself that you don't see. So you do see them, but you say, well, they're not that important because I am a horrible person, or I'm ugly, or something like that. So they don't feel the positive doesn't get the credit that it deserves when you're using discounting the positive. Another one would be jumping to conclusions. So knowing for sure that when I go there, they're going to hate me. That would be jumping to a conclusion. There's also magnification and minimization. So magnification would be something like, everybody's going to be looking at me and it's going to be horrible, and when they do that, the world is going to end and I'm never going to, it's just making everything really, really big. And minimization is the opposite. So minimization is like, well, how I feel doesn't really matter right now. I can put myself aside, and that's minimizing your own feelings. So magnification, blowing things up, minimizing, making them smaller than they really are. Then we also have emotional reasoning, which is when you over-focus on the way your emotions have a place in the way you see the world. So I feel bad, so I must be a bad person, or I feel like that person, I feel really happy right now, so I must be able to trust this person. So those would be examples of emotional reasoning. Should statements are another one. So should statements, things like, I should be doing this, you should be doing that, this shouldn't be happening to me right now. Anything with should in it is a should statement. Also labeling, so things like, I'm stupid, you're lazy, she's the smartest, using these labels that, as opposed to adjectives. I'm just thinking, because I said the smartest, it's more about giving somebody or something a permanent quality as a label. So you might say that somebody's smart, and that may be an adjective, but saying they're the smartest and being able to shake that label up and see them a different way, that's where labeling becomes a problem. You can see how it's a problem when you say, like, I'm the worst, I'm stupid, I'm dumb, that kind of a thing. And finally is personalization and blame. So it's my fault that everything happened that day, or it's your fault that I feel this way. Putting the blame on anybody, or personalizing and saying, it's because of me that that person got hurt, when it may have nothing to do with you, is another sign of a cognitive distortion. So that was just kind of like a quick little breeze through. I hope that's given you a good little taste of what cognitive distortion can look like. Now, if you want to combat against cognitive distortion, what you need to start to do is to start looking at objective things outside of you to reference, to gauge your thoughts and to see if you're thinking, I don't want to say correctly, but in a healthy way. So you have to challenge your own assumptions and challenge any misconceptions that you may have, and look around you and see, like, where is there evidence that what I'm thinking could be wrong, or it could be a little off here. And sometimes it helps to have somebody else that can do this with you. So that's why we have therapies like cognitive behavioral therapy, where somebody can kind of walk you through and discuss things with you and help you to challenge your own thoughts. So that is a quick little overview of what cognitive distortions are. If you've seen how you do any of these, I'd like to hear about it. So let me know in the comments below. Maybe you sharing will help somebody else see how they may also do this in their own lives. And I appreciate you taking the time to learn about cognitive distortions with me. Hey, it's Ryan Liberty. If you like that video, please give it a thumbs up, share with a friend, and leave any questions or comments down below, because that would really help me out. If you're somebody who's gone through a traumatic event and you're feeling cut off from the people around you, I have a free course that will help with that, so please click to get it. And if you'd like to see the rest of my videos, please click subscribe. As always, I want to remind you that your life matters. Nobody can question your worth. However it is that you're feeling, whatever it is that you're going through, it's okay, and you are loved. Thanks again for watching.